I was pretty straight, I was straight and narrow in terms of mainstream science, was not thinking very much at all about the fringe stuff at all.
Okay.
This idea to try to explain consciousness and possible, flying saucers was a big thing back then, was part of this project. So I was, in that from the very beginning. I mean, I wrote this little thing about what I thought was very, very positive. So that, judging from what I see, Uri's able to bend metal and this kind of positive stuff. And as a result of that, immediately, powerful enemies, in the academic establishment. This is very bad for your academic career. Politically, it'd be hard for you to get a job and stuff like that because it came out in favor of the paranormal. I became kind of a black sheep in terms of the respectable scientific community.
Are you the only one?
No, not the only one. Brian Josephson. No, but Josephson basically has been ostracized at his own Cambridge. Even though Josephson is a Nobel Prize physicist, a fellow of the Royal Society, he's been a guest of the Queen Elizabeth many times. He has basically been marginalized at Cambridge. They would not allow students to get government assistantships to work under him. Whether or not you believe it is the point. The point is intellectual freedom, academic freedom, and why the people who are thinking outside the box are being demonized. I've been demonized as a wacko, as a kook. They were afraid that if Sarfatti, Joseph, and Pete were at this meeting, that some of the younger students would not be able to get jobs in academia. That's the same argument that Valdir Rodriguez in Unicamp said he was pressured with, that some of his students would not be able to get jobs. Okay? This is dirty tricks. Most of the young physicists today are fear-driven because there are no jobs. Even though, the economy's shrinking, well, it's also true in the universities. So there's a tremendous fear of not getting a job in physics. So it's like you have rats in a cage where there's not enough space to go around. They're very competitive money. They don't get paid much in academia anyway. The budgets are shrinking. People are getting desperate. What you're seeing with Tal and Valentin is just desperate fear of them being, driving a cab. But even if the science turns out to be wrong, that's the scientific... What about, as you say, string theory? String theory, there's much more evidence for the paranormal and UFOs than there is for string theory, and yet string theory dominates the physics departments right now. The Chinese culture takes the paranormal as... you see a Chinese movie, martial arts, that's all, the qi and all this kind of... That's part of their culture. They accept that as a reality. So do the South Americans. So the cultural thing, it's just kind of like this narrow kind of Western sort of thing. And the ones who are being demonized here in China, they're actively working on it. And so are the Russians. And so are the Iranians. Kind of mass insanity, mass intolerance, and a kind of fascist, view of things. And it's invaded science itself. We may not even, God knows what's going to happen. We may not survive. We may be witnessing the breakdown of civilization as we know it, very rapidly. And I'm going to say this. By demonizing me and Josephson, they are making it easier for, the Chinese to get ahead of us.
And there you may be closer to what's happening.
And there may be close to what's happening.